Good evening, all. Ira Epstein with your financial market update. And this update is for the evening of Monday, the 5th of June, 2023. And we're getting on to 7 p.m. Central Time. Well, what an interesting day. You know, over the weekend, the first thing we saw was the Saudis unilaterally cutting to make something happen to support, in their mind, prices in oil. They unilaterally cut 1 million barrels a day. It'll start in July. They did not tell us how long they'll keep the cut in place. There's been battles between the African nations not wanting to give up quotas that the Saudis are trying to force down their throat, and the UAE wanting additional quota added to them so they can get and produce their 200,000 barrels a day more, or a little bit more than that, come the first of the year, as they've invested a fortune in infrastructure to get that out. Everybody's going to give up something, and the Saudis again showed their brinksmanship. And remember, they had to make good. 2 weeks ago, the energy minister warned everybody that was short that he wouldn't do that. Well, he cut the 1 million barrels. Did it have any impact? It did not. You gave up the whole gain, and you ended up about 17 points higher in WTI, as you'll see, and about 30 points higher at the end of the day on Brent. So that was rather interesting. The stock market, good rally off of these news that, you had the debt ceiling done. It seems like it was a week ago, the debt ceiling. But now you got to fund the Treasury. And that means they're going to come at you with all bazookas firing, and they're going to keep offering 2-year, 5-year, 10-year, 20-year, all kinds of different maturity dates. And that starts draining money out of the system. It's not bullish. And the question is, where does the money come from? It depends who buys their instruments. It's not going to be the Fed, because they're running their balance sheet down. Therefore, it's going to be non-banks or banks, and I don't think the banks have an appetite right now to do that. Plus, the banks, they've got big reserve requirements coming at them. If you get my newsletter, I wrote for you, explaining that they're going to be kicking up, almost doubling the reserve requirements on the big banks in America. This banking scenario, it's coming. They saw what happened. I'm talking the regulators, and they're going to protect the banks, and they're going to kick things up. The problem I have, if you start draining money out to fund the Treasury, does that put the wobbly banks back in trouble? It wouldn't surprise me. I was looking today at an offer that I got, 5.25% if I'll open an account with as little as $1 in a savings bank. All right, just want you to know that does exist. So it gives you an idea as to what you can get out there. There'll be different terms that you do and so on, but you can get some good money. Now, as we're looking at the S&P, the market is down to start the week about 12 points, not very much. It's made a new high. We had a melt up, as you know, on Friday. The market just continued to go. Today, you even made a higher high, and then you reversed course and closed lower. But that's just profit taking, and you'll see why. The trend is certainly up. The market has got moving average support back here at 41.93. Isn't that interesting? Again, that 4,200 level comes up. That's now the support on the way down. And if you look at where the Bollinger Band was, this is what kept the market from going up at this point. You only stay over that band 5% of the time. Is it a reason to go short? It is not, because what you have here is still momentum up, but very overbought, not even close to embedding. So I think pros were taking money on Friday and today. That doesn't mean the market's ready to fall apart. This is the market that refuses to break. I think you realize that that's the case. I haven't heard much said about sell May and go away. I have not said it. And if you did that, you've been killed, because the market, all it did in May is rally, and it's continued that at this point in time into early June. So you haven't really heard that statement out of traders, and I don't think you're going to. The strength is all the NASDAQ, the AI. I was personally disappointed in Apple, the announcement, and I watched everything and what they did. Who's going to buy a $3,500 headset? Nobody. But that's not what they're really doing. This was the beginning of something new. They haven't brought out a new product in almost a decade. So here's their new product. This is the first one. It's not meant for the masses. It's not priced to go to the masses. It is just the beginning, and you're going to keep hearing about it as they're going to lead you into what the next thing is. The problem they have Google's got one of these. Metaverse has one of these. None of them sell well, and none of them have been. You don't hear people that have them. Do you know anybody that owns one? I don't. And I know young kids, they live all around me, and I talk to them about the computers, go to graduation parties. Nobody had one. So, and at 3,500, none of the families I know are buying one for their kids either. But it's the first step. And the market greeted as such. You went to an all-time high in Apple, then you closed lower on the day. Dow up to the upper band. So you've gone from the lower band to the 18-day average, back to the lower Bollinger Band, back to the upper band. You can't trade this. I'm not even trying to. All it's doing is throwing money away. You have the same thing in the Russell. From the lower reach of the bands to the upper, got up as high as the 200-day average to 100. You know what I teach. That's where the pros are coming out. They're not buying at those numbers saying, this is it, baby, it's going to go. Absolutely not. They're going to play what the odds are, and that is, I didn't say you're going short. Coming out? Absolutely. That's your shot to do it. Then we get to bonds, and I'm going to put up the SEP bonds and the notes, too. That's what we'll move to for this conversation. You have lower lows, higher highs. The battleground's very clear. It's the 18-day average of closes, and they're not trending. You have the same dilemma in the 5-year notes. You have higher high, lower low. You've had a bearish crossover where the 18-day average in red just got under the 100. Normally, when that happens, you go for the most recent lows. You'd have to get up and close over all that to prove that I'm wrong, which means getting back over 109.18 and a quarter. We'll see if that happens. In the dollar index, once you lost the bullish embedded reading, you opened the door up and you made a run to the 18-day average. Will it go back through this high, or is it going to get back down here first? That's going to be the big question. When you come to the euro, the market, when it lost the embedded reading, it tried its run. Now, it either takes out that low or it goes to the 18-day average. The odds favor, unless it re-embeds, it's going to make a run to the 18-day average. So I'm looking a bit here for the euro to drop, the dollar to do its thing. So rather the euro to rally, the dollar to drop is what I meant to say. In the British pound, you're as neutral as can be. You're sitting here at the 18-day average. The market's wondering what the Bank of England's going to do. They're going to have to do something very shortly here on interest rates. In Bitcoin, this is the June. Now, very shortly, we'll move away from this. But there was a lot of bad news. By the way, this is May 6th. I knew that's the May. I've got it labeled as June. I apologize. Just didn't bring it up. It didn't switch the contract month on me. I looked at it. I said, that doesn't look right. Brent versus WTI. And by the way, on Bitcoin, you do realize Binance got sued by, now they've got the CFTC in a lawsuit, the SEC. I wouldn't want any part of that, okay? Remember, the government has unlimited funds to keep coming at you. These are the regulators. They don't have to justify the price of the lawsuit. They're going after them, and there's going to be HELL to pay. I wouldn't want to be in Binance's shoes, and it should knock down all of these Bitcoin and Ethereum and the other tokens for a little bit, because doing business in America in this is not the place you want to do business. There are Asian countries and so on that welcome this business. America doesn't want it until it can regulate it. I told you that 2 years ago. I'm right on the money. This market has got a problem. That is not to say that someday Bitcoin won't be worth a lot of money. But right now, you're not going to be able to trade it very easily. That's going to be the problem that you have. Who's going to want to do business here as these regulators keep coming at all the big boys? When you look at the energy, you went from the lower Bollinger Band to the upper band and got thrown right back. So here's the great news from Saudi Arabia. And what did the market do? It barely, let me bring you there. You ended up 58 points higher. I promise you, the last ticks of the day were about 30 points higher. I was looking at all this and going, wow. When you come over to the WTI, it was the same thing. Look at how the market got up here and thrown right on back. So brutal day. If you were buying the rally thinking this is it, I'm going to $100, you got it nailed. But you got to pay attention to Bollinger Bands. The odds of staying over, it's 5% of the time. I don't know why people fight it, why they don't get it. They don't take the course. They don't learn. Good, because you do, they don't. And that's the wonderful thing. Take their money. Rebob gasoline. All right, in the middle of no man's land. So I read everybody saying, well, gasoline's going to go higher because of what the Saudis did. Okay. But their production cut doesn't hit until July. It can't affect July gasoline. It'll be going off the board at that point. So that's how I'm looking at it. This market's just going to trade in the middle of no man's land as it gets ready for what? July 4th driving. And that'll be another bullish event, not a bearish event. Got it? So you want to position yourself, at least I think so, to that. I'll be looking at the chart for opportunities. Probably got to go to the further back months. Natural gas, got some heat coming. So you had a good rally today, as you could see, for the first time in a little while. But are you going to develop an embedded reading? Day 1 of embedding right there, that was Friday. Day 2, today still embedding. Day 3 could be tomorrow. You need a big rally out of here, otherwise you get that. Now, I happen to think we will get back to this 18-day average eventually. It's about 15 cents away. It's a nice move in it. But that's where I think the resistance will be seen over time. So you put it together, you come up with a game plan, and we have it for you. Our free offerings, these are just some of them. This is the page of the free offerings on our website at www.iraepstein.com. You can also move your cursor up here. It'll take you right to it at any point. And they're all laid out there for you. You choose what you want. Bingo. We'll have it out to you the next morning. Pretty simple. If you do it in the morning, we'll get it to you that day. And you can see all the different things. Take advantage of the price counts if you haven't done them. You're going to find those super interesting. I use those charts all the time. It gives me an idea where the market might ultimately be headed. We have a course on that, an explanation if you want to do that too. It's very interesting. You can only get it on our software. We don't make it available on anybody else's, not going to. We don't tell you the formula. We teach you how to do it, and you can see it unfold for yourself. With that, I'm Ira Epstein. I will see you first thing in the morning. Take care now.